This is Brianna. We've been dating for a few months and she's pretty awesome. She's like the nicest person I've ever met. She's super cute, she's well educated, and she has a way more solid career than I do. On top of all that, she's a Girl Guide leader. She's been involved with the Girl Guides her whole life and spends a lot of her free time volunteering with them. She's so dedicated to it that this is her tattoo. So now that it's nice and warm outside, she agreed to come try riding some bikes with me. So I thought this would be a perfect chance to include her in one of these episodes of Project Used Bikes. But unlike normal, we're gonna try and do this one a little bit smart. Yeah, we're gonna be smart. Gonna be smart. So we're gonna take a page out of her book and try and be more prepared for this one. So the bike that I'm gonna set her up with, it's gonna be one of the normal kind of bikes that I work with in these videos. But we're gonna set it up with all the accessories, make sure it's prepared for any situation. So this is the bike I'm gonna use. I've got some amazing feedback to these videos, chief among which are the people that have actually given me bikes just to make videos about. This bike is from somebody that I know through Cyclepath, and it's exactly what I need for this video. It's been neglected, but it only needs a chain and some TLC to be running pretty close to new. It's not a super expensive bike, but it's built with decent parts, and it's from one of the more reputable brand names out of there. This giant Revel is designed to be user-friendly and fairly comfortable, and bikes like this retail for around $500 Canadian. It might not have disc brakes or fancy suspension, but it's going to be reliable and super low maintenance as long as it's not abused. Rule number 3 is a call to duty for the Voluminatus. In essence, it says that once we've been shown the way by those who have gone before us, we must guide others as they embark on their journey. I like that. The rules are written for road bikes. It's kind of a niche thing, but this rule actually applies perfectly to what I'm talking about here. Instead of looking at all the details of that rule, I'm kind of latching onto one detail and running with it, so bear with me here. Brianna's opinion on bikes is pretty much what I see from most people who wouldn't describe themselves as a cyclist. Brianna's not a cyclist, but I'm trying to drag her out on more rides, so I need to make this as comfortable for her as possible, and that's the part of this rule that I'm latching onto. When I'm talking about that, I'm not just talking about, making the bike comfortable, like, a nice squishy seat or anything. I'm doing that too, but that's not the main thing I'm talking about here. When I'm talking about comfort or being comfortable on the bike, I'm mostly talking about feeling safe. Because let's be honest, cycling, especially on the road, can be kind of scary for new cyclists, right? So I want to make sure that we're fully prepared for these rides and we're fully safe, ready for anything to happen. Because that's the whole, the Girl Guide theme we're going with. The focus here is really on the whole preparedness aspect. So I'm making sure that Brianna's bike is fully kitted out with everything she could possibly need. So we're talking all the accessories that I could possibly fit on it. Bell, lights, the comfy seat, fenders, pump, tube, tool, the works.
through.
That ride actually turned out to be an amazing bike date. Being that Brianna has basically no prior cycling experience to this, she actually did way better than I expected. Like most people, when they do their first long-ish bike ride for a long time, they spend most of the ride complaining. Not only did she not really complain about anything, she actually kept up, which I was really impressed. This might sound kind of weird, but she actually has a pretty good mechanical sympathy for the bike and figured out how to get in the right kind of gear range really quickly without me even having to explain it to her. This is kind of like a side note, but at Cyclepath I see a lot of couples coming in to get their bikes worked on, and quite often it's really clear that one person's a really avid cyclist, the bike is really well maintained but obviously really heavily ridden, the other bike is covered in dust and it looks like it's been ridden twice. I have a theory that that's because avid cyclists are almost always way too pushy when they try and take their partner on a cycling date. So I really wanted to just let Brianna figure it out on her own, you know, help where necessary, but really not be too pushy and just kind of like, you know, let her set the pace, go where she wants to go, you know, that kind of thing. Moving on. Brianna was pretty cool with how I had the bike set up, but she wanted a more plush saddle, so I made it happen. The old seat was pretty fancy, but not the right size or style.
That's usually the best part.
Well, this second ride happened, so I must be doing something right. Either that or cycling is just a ton of fun and she'd enjoy it just as much without me, but I want to think I'm doing something right. Her confidence on the bike was through the roof compared to the first ride, so it was a lot more fun this time.
Very nicely. Don't think you're burning your nastiest. Perfectly.
Mississauga has lots of pathways and quiet side streets which lead to some pretty cool destinations, which makes it perfect for this kind of cycling. I feel like I should mention the fact that she's not wearing a helmet. I offered her one, but they're entirely optional as adults. I firmly believe that the helmet is necessary for competition or aggressive riding, but for relaxed casual rides in relaxed casual places like this, I can't judge anyone for not wearing one. That second ride turned out even better than the first ride, and that's really saying something. And since then, we've also done a kind of spontaneous nighttime ride. We just charged out the lights and went for a little cruise in the dark, and I am super stoked with how Brianna's taken to bikes. My goal is not to turn her into a cyclist, because I mean, really, like, that's not her. I'm the cyclist. But when I first approached her about going for a bike ride with me, she was kind of like, I don't even have a bike. Like, it seemed like it was almost a weird request. So my goal is to make bikes just normal for her. So not something that she actually does all the time, but something she doesn't think twice about if someone asks her to do it. And I guess that's kind of the whole goal with this series of videos, to just make, you know, cheap everyday bikes and just riding for fun seem normal. Like, it's not just a fitness thing, it's not just a commuting thing, it's not just a sport, it's whatever anybody wants it to be. That's why bikes are awesome.